My father used to ride a ESD, and every day when he used to come to pick us up or drop us, right, I used to be fascinated with the sound of the bike. Well, I didn't have a bike. A lot of them managed to convince their parents to buy them bikes. A bunch of my friends used to have something called as RX 100. That stole my heart, but I didn't own a RX 100 ever.
If you have to pick one car and one bike, what it would be?
You're asking me something that I've researched for the last 20 years. Anything is called vintage if it's existed for 50 years plus. If there is the obstacle and you are supposed to avoid it and go in this direction, then look towards your destination, not towards the obstacle. Love India.
And more like a love story on two wheels, Sandeep.
I think I'm still young.
Hi everyone, this is Ruchita.
I'm Durga.
Welcome to a very special Silver Jubilee episode of JCL podcast Bindas Boon. And today we are not in a studio. We are out in the wild at the gorgeous Labyrinth Lakefront. Why? Because this isn't just any episode. This is revved up, full throttle, and cruising on two wheels.
That's right. Who better to celebrate this milestone than our very own CEO? Let's get ready to ride with one and only Mr. Sandeep Varaganti.
Sandeep, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We usually see you driving business goals,
Right.
but today you are here driving dreams on two wheels. So, what are you most passionate about in life?
So several passions, but if I have to choose a passion which is personal to me, right, which I enjoy even in my own time, then it's machines.
Wow.
I like all kinds of machines, and when I say all kinds, I really mean all kinds. I follow a lot of posts about aeroplanes. I know the kinds of aeroplanes that are made. I sometimes even follow machines that are built to travel out of space. And obviously, in regular life, we see a lot of cars, bikes. That is in my reach. So I do follow and observe a lot of machines that are built for roads. So sports cars, sports bikes. This is my passion. I've been doing that for like donkey's years now.
Wow, interesting. CEO on a bike. Now, that's not something we see every day. So, how did it all start? When did the biking bug first bite you?
So I think biking bug bit me when I was very young, right? Every day my father used to come home on his ESD. There's a bike called ESD. It's a 250cc bike. So back in those times, when all of these, 80s, 90s, when all of these modern bikes were in there, he used to ride a ESD. And every day when he used to come to pick us up or drop us, right, I used to be fascinated with the sound of the bike.
Okay.
ESD is a really cool bike. It has what do you call twin cylinders, right? The exhaust, there are two pipes coming out.
Right.
So I used to observe it, the beat, and I used to accompany him to the workshops whenever he wants to get something repaired. So that's when it started. Then luckily I had a good set of friends in school, and I'm talking about high school here, right? A good set of friends. Well, I didn't have a bike. A lot of them managed to convince their parents to buy them bikes. And my passion for bikes started then. A bunch of my friends used to have something called as RX 100. I come from that generation. So That used to be a fascinating bike again. That's when it started, and then it's just started developing. And with the advent of internet, at that point, I used to buy a lot of magazines. I used to have a magazine for sports, and then I used to have a magazine for automobiles, right? And I used to, when I was able to afford, I would go and buy. Otherwise, I would go to libraries and read those magazines about the bikes and cars. With the advent of internet, right? I think sometime around the early 2000s, when internet came, then I used to research a lot of it on the internet. So
Okay.
easily now about 20 years plus, I've been actively researching and engaging with content around sports bikes, sports cars.
It's a long time.
Interesting. Very nice. So, Sandeep, which was your first bike and that stole your heart?
So stole my heart is obviously RX 100. That stole my heart, but I didn't own a RX 100 ever.
Okay.
I used to like it. I used to borrow and ride it from my friends. Right, borrow in the sense when we go out for a movie, for example, he would come and pick me up, and I would ride his bike because I would hold the sound and the pickup. It's a 100cc machine. The bikes that we ride now are much more capable, but at that point, that itself was a really good machine. And I think in that generation, one of the last two-stroke machines which was so successful. After that, it's everything four-stroke, more fuel efficient, etc. But at that point, that was a beautiful machine. I used to be obsessed with it. But my first bike was my father's GST.
You rode?
Yeah, I rode it.
At what age?
I started riding when I was 13, 14 itself.
Oh, fantastic.
And it was also very, what do you call, peculiar, because a lot of folks of that age typically ride lighter bikes, lighter vehicles, right? You ride moped, or even if you are doing a bike, then you do a RX 100, which is lighter to handle. But if you observe, the ESD is a very heavy machine. It's like 120 kgs plus. And it has a weird setup, the gear system, the way you start the engine. It is not a automatic starter, right? You have a kick rod and you have to reverse the gear. It comes into a kick rod. Then you start the vehicle and then it goes back into a gear mode. So it used to be a very interesting bike. I got that for the first couple of years. I rode it like that in its vintage condition, right? It's a 1976 bike. And I got it, I started riding when it was 97, 98. So it was already a 20 years old vehicle by then. So I rode it for a couple of years. Then when I started going to college, which is undergrad, I studied in Hyderabad again. Then I got it modified.
Okay.
I changed the look of it. There used to be a ESD Classic. There used to be a ESD Road King. So my father's was a ESD Classic, which I started riding. Then I modified it towards looking like a Road King. I did that, and then I still have that bike. I think in around 2013 or 2014, for my father's 60th birthday, I restored the bike to its original condition.
Wow.
I changed it back to a classic, got all the original parts, procured it from Bangalore, and I then restored it and gave it back.
What better gift for your father than his
very nice.
old bike?
He's riding that?
No, not anymore. He drove it he rode it when I first gave it back as a gift to him. But in the last 5-6 years, obviously because of age, and I like also said that it's not a
An easy bike to
yeah, it's not easy bike to handle. It's heavy and you need to do some jazz around it to ride it. So he doesn't anymore. I take it for a spin sometimes when I get a chance, but it's still there in mint condition at home.
Brilliant.
So you have a vintage bike in your garage.
Correct.
And we'd love
Not
to
yet vintage. In 1 year from now, it'll become vintage. I mean, my definition, right, what I've read and understood, anything is called vintage if it's existed for 50 years plus.
So it's an almost vintage bike in your garage, and we'd love to know which are the other beauties that you own.
I think because we're talking about vintage, one other vintage vehicle we have in our garage is a Tiger Morris. It's a car from 1953.
Wow.
Yeah, it used to be manufactured only in London, in Britain. And we used to import those cars at that time. That was the car was imported even during British era. But it's a 1953 model. My father acquired it in around 1987 or something. We restored it a couple of times. Right now it is in good condition, but it's not in working condition. Right? I can't take it out for a drive. But it's in our garage. It's a 1953 model, so a proper vintage. And I'm sure I'm going to keep it until 2053. And when I do that, it's going to be 100 years celebration.
Wow.
So 10 years ago was the last time we took it out. There was in Secunderabad, which is another part of Hyderabad. There is a there is a culture of family clubs,
Correct.
right, where families go and hang out. It's an open area like this, and there is restaurants, there is swimming pools, gyms, etc. So that one of the clubs conducted a vintage car rally.
Oh, you took it there.
I took it there. In another club carried a SD Java rally, so I took my bike there. So these two are vintage. Then another bike that I acquired when I was in college was something called as Honda CBZ. This was the original
Heard that.
Japanese model. So the engine was imported from Japanese, and then the body was assembled here. That was one of the original Honda vehicles in India that I used to ride to college. So I have that. Then obviously I have my Ducati. That's a 3-year-old acquisition. I've been enjoying my rides until then. I think I'm still young. So maybe in 10 more years you should ask this question. Then I will talk about a lot more bikes. And obviously we have a bunch of cars which I daily use to office. We have a family SUV because I've got 2 kids now. We have to put the car seats and all the entire family has to travel. Then we need a bigger car of an SUV. And my first car was a Fiat Palio. I'm not sure if you guys heard of it, but it was a it's a
Sachin used to give an advertisement with us.
yes, exactly. And on my car, Sachin's autograph will be there.
Wow. Very nice. Interesting.
It's a sports model. It was at that point itself. It was a 1600cc car, 1.6 valve engine. It used to be a beauty on streets, and I got it modified. It was a lovely car. Then for city use, I had a Honda City. So I'm passionate about cars. I also bought and sold a lot of cars because at some point you can't have all the cars in the garage.
Yeah, correct.
So whenever car's life is done or whenever I'm bored, I change the car.
So much of machines around.
Yeah, a lot of machines around.
From first crush to full-blown garage goals sounds less like a bike collection and more like a love story on 2 wheels, Sandeep. So is there a pre-ride ritual which, something you do before hitting the road to get you into the zone?
No, I don't have any specific kind of a ritual, but I do like listening to good music to get me pumped up for the ride. And because I'm typically a sports bike rider, right? So I like music that gets me pumped up, gets me in the zone to take the bike out for a spin and put me in the right zone. But the ritual that I follow is getting my stuff cleaned up. I have a riding gear. So the previous night I lay it out so that you don't have to find and struggle for stuff. And 10 minutes before I just go, I start my bike, let it idle. I like the thump of the bike. I think that's music to my ears. So I let that happen for 5-10 minutes. That also warms up the engine so that it's ready when I take it out and I don't have to face any kind of an issue. And then putting on my riding gear itself is a sort of a ritual. It takes me around 15-20 minutes. So I clean stuff up, I clean my boots up, and I'm doing all of this stuff and it gets me in the zone. I think that's all I do before a ride.
Perfect. I think that sounds perfect.
How do you usually plan? You go with your friends, you go alone, solo. How do you plan that?
No, I think that's an interesting question. A lot of people prefer riding in groups,
Correct.
but I also prefer my solo rides. So I like the solitude it gives me when I'm on myself. There is no plan. If you're riding in groups, right, you agree on a destination. You plan towards a destination, you go stop there, then you have a bunch of things, you socialize. I like doing that also, but I mix it up.
Okay.
Going with a biking community gives you the benefits of exploring new routes that you don't know. And then you have the safety of riding in a group. They're around for you. You are around for folks who need you.
True.
So it gives you that comfort. And also riding in a group, right, you learn riding better. Especially when you're riding a sports bike, right? You need to be careful about certain things, right? I'll give you a small example. One of the things that I learned after I started riding this bike and I started riding with the Ducati bikes group is that basic stuff, but when you're trying to avoid what do you call obstacle, right? What we typically do is, hey, where is the obstacle? And if it is right there, if it's a rock or a car or a truck, right? What we try and do is, hey, there is a truck, so I have to go. So you keep watching the truck.
Correct.
But your human mind is wired in certain way that if you're looking at an obstacle, then your entire reflexes will take you towards the obstacle. The first thing I learned is when you're looking at an obstacle, the first thing you have to do is look away from it. Look towards your destination. If there is the obstacle and you are supposed to avoid it and go in this direction, then look towards your destination or your direction, not towards the obstacle. Such simple things were trained by more experienced riders to me. And then signaling, right? If there's a pothole, how do you signal, right? And then if you want to take a right, how do you signal? Because not all the times you can let your hand go off the vehicle. Then when do you overtake? When do you not overtake? All of these cues are given by the biker groups.
Okay, so it's like a code language for the bikers.
Yeah.
Sandeep, let's talk about your dream mission. If you have to pick one car and one bike, what it would be?
That's a great question. Yeah. You're asking me something that I've researched for the last 20 years. And I think it will continue for the next 20, 30 years also. See, the dream bikes, dream machines evolve, right? When I had lesser knowledge about cars and bikes, then I used to be obsessed about Ferrari. Used to be obsessed about Lamborghinis, right? I also follow Formula 1 and MotoGP, obviously. And for me, for the longest period, the best cars, track cars being made by Ferrari. And I'm a huge Ferrari fan. So I used to love Ferraris until a point. But when I started doing research and when I understood the practicality of cars, the balance, the reliability, if you're paying so much, then what kind of a car you need. Specifically, I'm an Indian. I love India. I want to live in India, and I have to also think about what are the conditions that I can drive a car in. So, right. So, over a period of time, specifically in the last 5 to 10 years, it has evolved. And at the same time, Toyota, of all people, launched a beautiful car. It's called a Supra. Until that point, I used to like a car called Nissan GTR. Now, you may ask, hey, German cars or European cars are more famous, right? Ferrari, Lamborghini, Italian cars, German cars like BMW, Mercedes. But frankly, the machines that I like are from Japan. So, a Nissan GTR I used to like for a long time. And more recently, I'm obsessed over this car called Toyota Supra. So, my favorite car is Toyota Supra. Bikes, like I said, I own a Ducati. So, there's a bunch of brands, but I love Ducati because I think it's the best bikes ever made. They give a raw power to the vehicle. When you're riding a Ducati, you actually are able to feel the machine. Right? I've tried other bikes also. I've tried Triumph, I've tried BMWs, I've tried Aprilia, I've tried all of them, but I love Ducati. Within Ducati, I don't even think those machines are ever even being made now. But there's a bike called Desmo Sedici. It was I can't call it vintage, but it's like a contemporary bike. It's it was made a decade ago. But beautiful machine. I love that machine. I don't think they're made. I think a couple of people in India own a Desmo Sedici, but that's a beautiful machine. What I love about Ducati is the bikes they make for MotoGP, which is like the Formula 1 for bikes. They make it compatible for riding outside also. Right? So the same bikes are used on the track are the same bikes that you can buy and ride off track also. That's what I love about Ducati. So these are my favorite cars and favorite bike.
I think we've not even heard of most of the machines.
That's why I said, right, it's all about passion because I'm passionate about machines and I know and I research and I whenever I have free time, this is what I do. Apart from LinkedIn, one place I spend a lot of time is following bike and car content.
So Sandeep, did you ever have had like a DIY mechanic moment, like fixing the bike on the go, or more interestingly, messing it up?
Messing it up, no. Frankly, because I love bikes, right? I know what at what point I should stop messing a machine up. So my favorite or my what do you call not favorite, right? It was not a good experience. It was obviously harrowing experience, but was not on the Ducati.
Okay.
Ducati, it's a more latest machine. It's more sophisticated. I don't even want to mess it up. So I always take it to the authorized dealer to get anything done. But when I used to ride my SD, there used to be a lot of movements, right? In SD, I can take the bike apart and put it back in. That much of research. Because I told you, right? I used to be spend hours at the workshop, what that person is doing.
Correct.
And it's an old machine, so there are different kinds of problems. There's a problem where there's more fuel going into the engine that the engine stalls. So I open it, I pump the excess fuel out, and then I reconnect it and then it starts. Okay, there's something called a choke for a bike like SD, right? So there is a spark plug. Correct. Sometimes what happens is when you're riding it for a long time, fuel goes in, the combustion happens, and there is a black kind of a soot which goes and blocks the choke, the plug points, right? Then I used to open it, clean the spark plug out, put it back in and do it. So all of these things I used to do it on my SD. And if I'm able to do it on SD, then I may be able to do it on other bikes like RX100. I've got experiences with my friends when I'm going out. So those things I did enjoy, and that was a younger part of that my life.
13, 14 then.
No, not 13, 14. I think I started riding when I was 13, 14.
Okay.
But until I was around 20 years old, right, I used to do a lot of this DIY stuff. Because at that time, you need to take your bike to a workshop, it would cost.
Absolutely.
So you find ways and avenues to do it yourself so that you are saving money. That point I used to do it. Now I don't do DIY anymore. I understand the complexity of machines and I understand the technicality of a service person. The person is trained by Ducati to operate a machine. So I don't want to claim that I know better than him. I pay it safe now. I don't want to even spoil my expensive machine. So I take it to the showroom whenever I
Right.
need anything done.
Interesting.
Interesting.
So it's the machine man come mechanic.
But I believe in that, right? Even we are all in e-commerce. We are in technology, right? I believe in that. For the longest period, I started my career as a software developer. So even now, if I have to do something, troubleshoot something, I want to stay in touch. So I don't write code anymore. But I can, if need be, I can step in and write code.
Write codes.
I can debug. I open HTML and see what's going on if I don't like something on the app or on a website. So these things I do it. I like staying in touch with the basics of the system.
So I think it's a perfect combination of adrenaline and a tech junkie.
If I have to ask you, what's your dream destiny road trip you wanted to do?
I've researched it. I've not yet done it, right? Being an Indian, I can't take my sports bike. But being an Indian, I think one of my favorite trips and one thing I've not done yet and I will do it at some point is a trip to Leh Ladakh.
Oh wow, yes.
I think I've seen so many videos and pictures that I definitely want to do that. It's not just about visiting the place, but finding a way to go and ride there. I may not take my bike. We'll go and rent a bike there, but I will do it. One more destination that I've been following, tracking, and I will do it when I have sufficient time is a bike ride in Africa. Specifically South Africa, Namibia, Zambia, right? Not just the jungles, but it has a beautiful landscape. Right? There's a lot of mountains and seashore roads that you can hit. At the same time, you can also do a lot of safaris. So that's one favorite destination that I'm waiting to do when I get a chance. Very nice.
Interesting. So Sandeep, if you have to sum it up in one sentence, what's your ultimate CEO biker philosophy?
I don't think it's about CEO biker philosophy, right? What I truly believe in is every individual should have some kind of a passion outside what they do, right? I've seen people who are passionate about their work, which is good for them. But I believe there's more to life outside professional arena. So I think everybody should have a passion and they should find time to pursue it. I think it gives a lot of, it'll de-stress you, it will give you space in your mind to actually focus on your professional work even more. So I think nothing to do with bikes. I think everybody should have a passion. If you've not discovered your passion, then you should invest efforts to discover it because I've been working in Reliance for the last 4 years and even before that, I have a lot of young people around. So I think there is still time. I think you should focus on identifying what your passion is. Once you identified your passion, I think you should spend time. You should ensure that you do it. I enjoy my bike rides. I go on bike trips. I go on solo rides. And it gives me a lot of peace. It de-stresses me and I'm back with more energy to do what I'm supposed to do. So my CEO biker philosophy is to identify a passion and pursue it.
Brilliant.
Beautiful.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Sandeep, thank you very much for taking us along with an unforgettable ride. It's not every day CEO swaps the boardroom for a biking jacket. It's just a blast. Thank you very much, Sandeep.
Thank you. I enjoyed my conversation too. And I hope that I've been able to inspire more people to find their passion and pursue it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Well, this has been one heck of a ride, quite literally. From first bikes to dream garages and bucket list adventures. We've seen a whole new side of Sandeep Varaganti. The bike lover, the machine enthusiast, and the road trip junkie. Thank you to all our listeners for tuning in to this very special Silver Jubilee episode of JCL Podcast Bindas Bowl.
Don't forget to like, share, and tell us what's your favorite ride.
फिर से बोल.
And फिर से बोलो.
हाँ.
Don't forget. So क्या बोला? Okay, sorry. Basically फिर से. Okay, rolling.